Hi, Debbie. Hi, John.
Hi.
I'm just going to let people in as they show up, and if anybody wants to unmute and chat, feel free to. And we'll just wait until 7 or a couple minutes after to actually get started and talk about any business. Hi, Emily.
Hello, how are you?
Good.
Good. Oh, Rebecca,
Mm-hmm.
I made some contact graphics for our state legislators, just with their information. Would those be useful for you all?
Yeah.
They don't have anything attached. It's just here's how to contact Bartlesville area.
Okay. Yeah, that would be useful.
Okay, I'll email them to you.
Hi, Eric.
Hi.
We're just going to wait around until probably a few minutes after 7 to get started. Anyone feel free to unmute and chat if you want to. I'll try to stop hitting my table so my screen stops shaking. Eric, I'm going to give you co-host duties. Also, this is recording, just so everybody knows. I'm going to post it later on our YouTube and probably Facebook. Hi, Karen. I have 7 o'clock, but I'm going to give everybody a few more minutes to get here. Hi, Alicia.
Hello,
Hi.
Thanks for joining us.
thank you.
I'm Madam Chair. It's nice to see you.
I don't think I've seen you with hair.
That's true. I have hair now.
I like the poster.
Thank you. It says at the top, Washington County Democratic Party believes in. It's a pretty good list. Here we have a few more people joining.
How you been, Karen?
Been busy. How are you? Miss you.
I was thinking, I miss you.
I was talking with Miss Utley the other day.
Tell
We
me
had
about that call.
Andrea.
Karen, is the Bartlesville Symphony doing anything big this spring?
Yeah, I have 3 fundraisers coming up.
Oh my gosh.
I've been busy.
I bet.
May we have a chocolate wine pairing. June we have the outdoor bingo at Unity Square. And then in October, we're having our masquerade ball. So
Do you anticipate those being able to be like full in person?
yeah, well, the wine pairing is going to be upstairs outdoors on the balcony of the community center.
Okay, that'll be nice.
The bingo is going to be at Unity Square, so that's outside. And the masquerade ball is at the end of October, so cross my fingers.
Yep. Okay.
Even if it's only 50%, we can still have 200. So,
Right.
because Washington County is yellow right now. So, which is 50% capacity all over. And hopefully by October, depending on the vaccines and the way it's going, we could be at 100%.
I saw the other day you posted a picture requesting like grants or funding from the state level. Are you going to get that or did you get it?
We got it. No, we got it. Yeah.
Yay.
That was a lot of money. So
Right. I'm glad. I'm sure that was a
a
lot
friend of mine texts me and she says, I don't believe you actually thanked Governor Stitt. I'm like, I actually had to. So,
That's a little bit of not eating crow, but I'm sure it kind of feels like that right now.
for 5 figures, I'll say thank you to my biggest enemy.
Very nice. Good for you.
Well, hey, it's about 5 minutes after. So
Okay.
I'm going to go ahead and get us started. Eric, will you help me keep an eye on the waiting room to let people in if more people show up?
Sure, no problem.
I just want to let everybody know that we're recording this, just so you're aware, to share with other people later who might not be able to be here right now. So I just want to give you guys some updates about what's going on. I'll start with our treasurer's report. We currently have $1,363.99 in the bank. That is $55 less than a month ago. We spent that $55 on postage for the letter writing campaign that Emily and Eric were working on. So if you have any questions about that, you can direct them towards Eric. I just wanted to talk a little bit about why we decided to do a Zoom meeting tonight. We are going to have our precinct and county conventions on Zoom. We had talked about other possibilities about doing it in person or doing it split, but we have decided against that. The state chair, Alicia, who's with us tonight, she has discouraged anyone from doing in-person conventions. And I'm sure she's right that it's better to stick to virtual for now. And trying to do like any combination of the two just gets so complicated if you're trying to do, 2 different conventions almost. So we are going to stick with Zoom for the precinct and county conventions. And since we're a small county, we only have it's 10 or fewer delegates. If you have 10 or fewer delegates, you can do your precinct and county conventions combined. So that is what we are going to do. So our precinct convention will be 10 a.m. on April 3rd on Zoom. And then county convention takes place immediately after the precinct convention. So this is kind of, we wanted to make sure we had this meeting, and we'll also have our March meeting on Zoom, just so we can all become a little bit more comfortable and familiar with Zoom. I'm sure all of you, since you have showed up tonight, all know more or less how to work Zoom. But different accounts have different things set up, and we have captions that you can view. I just turned mine on. I don't know if I turn it on, if everyone can see, or if you have to turn your own on, but at the bottom, there's like a live transcript option that you should be able to turn on if you want to. And we also have reactions set up where you have just like the regular raising your hand, thumbs up, all of those, and also yes and no buttons. So you might look around on your Zoom, on your reaction options, and see if you can see those options. I know it's different on iPads or phones versus the computer. If you're on a computer, it should be at the bottom. You should see reaction button. You can click on it and click on the thumbs up or the whatever. So feel free to try that out. I won't. What are you doing, Eric? It's fine. You're not supposed to have that ability.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I was going to show them how to, for some of you who are on your computers, those reactions, we figured that out earlier. There's those reactions that are like thumbs up and clapping and, laughing. But then if you click under participants, it'll open up like a chat on the side, and there are like a green yes and an that's a check mark, and an X that's no and stuff. And we had a hard time finding that. So I was just trying to bring that up to show you guys, but clearly I can't do that right either. So
Yeah, you might try it. Like I can click yes, and then I have a green check mark on me. Like, and Eric can do that too. So might give it a try. Just so you can see those. Anyway, we do need to figure those kinds of things out for convention, because that'll help us run some things during convention if we can get those worked out. If some people can do it, then we can possibly, depending on how many people we have, we might be able to vote without doing like Google Forms or whatever, since we're a smaller county. So we're going to try to figure that out today and next time. Okay, and what next? This, I said we were recording this, and we we just opened a YouTube page. We're going to share this there, and all of our videos we're going to share on YouTube. There are a lot of people who don't have Facebook, and it's easier for them to just go to YouTube or whatever. And it's easy to share from there. And our YouTube page is the same as our website. It's washcodems.ok. The website is washcodems.ok.com. And I'm going to pull those up. I'm going to share my screen real quick and show you our, sorry, I'm going to get it in the right place. Nope, that's the wrong one. Okay, here's our YouTube. It just has our January meeting on it so far, but it's just Washco Dems. Okay, so if you want to go check that out, and that's where I'm going to post this video. And then here's our website, and I'm going to come back to this in just a minute because I'm going to talk about convention. Okay, so like I said, our county precinct and county conventions are going to be April 3rd, 10 a.m. And that is when we decide on our officers for the next 2 years. Precinct convention is when we choose precinct officers. And I'm gonna go back to that page, sorry, and show you. Okay, precinct officers, so what we decide at precinct convention. Okay, yeah, this is sharing, right? Sorry, I am new to the screen sharing thing on Zoom and it scares me, but I think I've got it okay. So precinct officers are kind of our party neighborhood connection. You're supposed to get to know the Democrats around you. We can help with lists of Democrats in your areas, so you'll know who you want to build relationships with. Assist in identifying and registering new voters, be aware of absentee voter procedures and help those in your precinct, assist the county officers with any tasks that the chair might ask for, know your precinct boundaries so you can help people know that they're in your precinct, and know your voting location. So only precinct officers are eligible to vote at county convention. So if you want to vote on the officers and delegates that our county will send on to district and state convention, you have to become a precinct officer. And we would love to fill every precinct. So if that's something that you're even a little bit interested in, consider coming to precinct convention and becoming a precinct officer, because it's not a big job. It's not a huge commitment. And we want people to be in those positions and have a vote at our county convention as well. So at county convention, we will decide on chair and vice chair, secretary, a male and female affirmative action officer, and state delegates. You do not have to be a precinct officer to have any one of those positions, but you can do both. And you have to be a precinct officer to vote on those positions. So that's helpful. You can vote for yourself. So we do have people running for chair and vice chair and secretary that I'm aware of. I'm not aware of anyone who is running for affirmative action, male or female. So that is something to consider. And I don't know who's planning to run for state delegates either. So all of these descriptions are on our website. Like I said, washcodemsok.com. I'm gonna stop sharing now. So yeah, that's how convention is gonna go. After we elect precinct officers, then we'll elect the county officers and the delegates. And we would love for you all to participate. Please, please do. We're gonna put out our convention call early next week, and we'll have a registration kind of like you filled out for tonight's meeting that you'll fill out. And that's how we're going to do credentialing, is through this form you fill out, so that we can go in and check and make sure that you really are registered as a Democrat and you really do live in Washington County, so that we can make sure you're really eligible. Yeah, let me see what else. Yeah, and the convention call will have that form and just, other information about the convention and when it's going to be. We have our convention committees set up. They all met last Thursday for the first time, just to kind of get oriented. Rules committee and credentials committee that'll set up the rules for convention and how we do the credentialing for convention. And then also the resolutions committee. And I'm going to let Eric talk to you guys about resolutions. Eric.
Yep. So for the resolutions, the state has made a really handy tool for you all to submit your resolutions to the state. Now, what we really want to focus on here is that you need to make sure that you read the platform of our party well before you start submitting resolutions, because of a huge amount of the time at conventions is taken up considering these resolutions, and it can get tedious and frustrating when people are submitting things that are already there, or it just gets very frustrating. So make sure that you take a look at that. The form, let me see if I can share the right way this time.
I can if you have any trouble.
The form is at the state website, okdemocrats.org. You just go to state convention, and we'll link this on our own website. But for now, this is where you can find it. And then they've got a lot of information here and resources available to all of us. But at the bottom or in the middle, there are these red buttons. And on the left here, we've got a proposed resolution submission form. And if you click that, it will take you to the beginning of the form. And so they ask that you read your, platform, do all that stuff. And then you'll fill out the form, and it will send it, according to the instructions here, it will send it to the parties individually. So then we'll get your resolutions from this. And then your committee goes through those, takes the ones that are similar, combines them together, so that it's a little less redundant and tedious for us at our county convention. So that's how the resolutions are going to work. But we just want to make sure that everybody, please, take a look at your platform before you submit any resolutions. If you're going to do that, at least take the time, to go through that and read it all at least once, please. I think that's it.
Okay, thank you, Eric. Okay. I think that's all I have to cover. Does anybody have any questions? Or comments, anything? You can unmute and speak up if you do.
Can I hop in for a second on resolutions, Rebecca?
Yep.
Okay, so Angela and I talked. Angela Utley and I are on the resolutions committee, and we're kind of co-chairing it, I guess. And she would love to have a goal of like 15 to 20 resolutions so that we could actually, like, for one of the first times, actually maybe send some ideas on to our congressional district. So if you all go through the platform and read it, Angela and I would actually love to have some work to do on the resolutions committee, so that we can work through the resolutions and propose some ideas. So I just wanted to throw that out there. She was thinking 15 to 20 would be a good target.
Thanks, Emily. Anybody else out there have any questions, comments, announcements? Angela just said in the chat that it will be better to focus on state issues instead of federal on resolutions. And that is true. I agree with that. Okay, well, you guys are easy. Alicia, do you have anything that you'd like to say to our group?
I would, but I don't want to. I'll go last. I want to make sure you've done your Washington County business. I don't want to be in the way of that.
No, go ahead. I didn't see anybody else jump in.
I'm going to jump in here right quick and say that I think one of the things that we really must focus on starting now is registering new voters, young people. And that means getting in touch with, I would like to see a statewide push to contact all the young Democrat organizations at the high schools and make sure that we have someone. I know League of Women Voters does this, but I think as Democrats, we really need to be there to answer their questions and help them to get registered. And, I think that's going to be, we've got to get people out to vote. And I think that's going to be a good target is young people.
Debbie, I'm running for a Young Democrats position, like within the state, and I would get to be the vice president of membership. So we would do a lot of like chartering and rechartering. And I'd love to build a Young Dems organization up in Washington County so we can work on exactly that. So I think that's a great.
Yeah, because we tried to get in touch with Young Democrats in Bartlesville, through Washington County Dems and just never really made any headway with them. And I think that's so important to, to when you start out, when you're 18, to vote and get in the habit of it and really realize that you do have a voice and it's your civic duty. I think that's important too, to impress upon young people that they really have a duty to their community, their state, and their country to get out there and vote.
Thank you, Debbie. Yeah, I did know that Emily was working with Young Democrats and she has some good ideas going forward, I think. So we will definitely work on that.
So one of the things I want to talk about, I think that's a really good jumping off point, Debbie. Should I be fortunate enough to get elected again? The three things that I'm going to focus on are voter expansion. And I talk about it as voter expansion more than voter registration, because we not only have to register people to vote, but we need to stay in touch with them until they actually become voters. Because until that point, they're just people with a voter's registration card. And one of the things that we've done very well as Democrats over the last 10 years is register people to vote. But we don't stay in touch with them and they revert back to what they were before, or they don't ever vote, or they don't show up. And so what we've got to do on a layered plan on a statewide level is register people to vote and then stay in touch with them. And the way that we register people to vote, I think the way that makes it a little bit easier. It's like I'm sitting here looking at Rebecca and she has Washington County Dems believes in this. One of the things that the state Democratic Party has been challenged with is having a statewide message. So when we're talking to people, when you're tabling at an event, I know when I table at events that people walk over and they say, what do the Democrats stand for? If we had a statewide message, so if they came to that table at 10 o'clock, or if they came to that table at 2 o'clock, or they came to that table in Washington County, or they came to the table in Comanche County, we're all saying the same thing. That makes voter registration and expansion a little bit easier. It also makes candidate recruitment a little bit easier. It's, when we can say, this is what Democrats stand for, and then we can hold, new candidates to those same standards and to that message. That makes it easier for the state party to amplify the message. What we had in this cycle is we had 84 people in the primary, and then after the primary, we had about 51 candidates on the statewide level or above. And all 51 of those candidates talked about education differently. All 51 of those candidates talked about healthcare differently. And what we have to do is get focused on what our message is. Focus on what our message is, and then train district level, county level, and candidates on how we get that message across. And then when it comes time, when somebody great like Emily is running, the party can focus on amplifying the standard message. And Emily can touch on that, but then talk about the 3 or 4 things that burns in Emily's soul. What we did this year is we let every single candidate decide what they stood for. Then when it came time to amplify, the only message that we could amplify that we thought could help every candidate across the board was absentee voting. Now, absentee voting was very important, and it is all about my heart, but it doesn't really say what Democrats stand for. And so what we have to talk about is what Democrats stand for. And to that end, I've had a meeting with the Benison Group. Their principals worked on the Obama campaign in 2008 and 12, Hillary's campaign in 16, and are currently working with Secretary Buttigieg in the transportation department on messaging. And so I think those are pretty impressive credentials. And what I've asked them to do is to help us package a message that can work kind of across the lines that we could. I don't want, now this is going to sound like blasphemy, but I'm going to say it. I don't think that there's a rural message and an urban message. And I'm not saying that as a city dweller. I'm not. I'm saying that as a human being. I believe that people in Tulsa County, people in Washington County, people in Pickett County, Carter County, all want their kids to have access to quality education. They all want to have access to affordable, quality health care. They all want opportunities for economic growth. Whether you live in a city or whether you live rurally, I can't imagine that you don't want those things. I can't. I don't believe that city people want better education than rural people or vice versa. And what we keep doing is we say, well, Alicia's a city girl. She doesn't know how to message for rural and vice versa. And I think we just get a message and we stick with it. And we've been struggling trying to figure out what is our rural message. There is no such thing. Yes, we need to talk about broadband access for sure. That's a rural specific thing. But as far as like the general message, healthcare, education, economic reform, yes, we need to talk about access to broadband, right? That's a big deal. But economic growth looks different in Tulsa than it looks in Woodward, for example, but it's still economic growth. We need to talk about that as a, we need to talk about that as a whole. And that's a message that the state party, the district party, the county parties can echo and amplify. So that's what's going to be my plan should I get elected again. Now, I'm saying elected again. So I need to tell you some of the things that I did in this term to earn the chance to run again and get elected again. When I got elected, the party was, let's say, in need of structure. The party was in need of structure. We were over $80,000 in debt, and we had over $30,000 in fines. I went to the bank today, got the last cashier's check to retire our final debt. The party is not in debt. I've not missed staff payroll once in my term. I've paid folks every time payroll came around, which is a thing that I can say that the last 3 chairs hasn't been able to say. Additionally, we actually had training that made a difference. We got slowed down with COVID, but when we were up and about, we actually had training that made a difference for candidates and for super volunteers and for consultants. And I'd like to be able to keep that going on. One of the challenges with the Democratic Party is that we do a lot of infighting. I like to think in my term that has gone down considerably. And one of the ways that I've contributed to that is I don't fight on Facebook. You can goad me if you want to. Now, I will talk very firm on issues, but I will not talk bad about Eric. I just don't think that helps the Democratic cause. I'm just picking on you, Eric, because you're in my line side. But I think it's important because one of the things that runs Democrats off is the infighting and toxicity in our party. I'm going to say we all really care about the party, but we need to act like it. And if I have beef with Rebecca, then the best thing that I can do is just not talk to Rebecca. I don't need to fight with Rebecca on Twitter or Facebook. And that's a thing that this is my 3rd time trying to be involved in the party. It ran me off twice. That it just was so toxic. And I feel pretty proud that a lot of that has gone away in this cycle or has at least been minimized. And when you think that most of us are really democrating, and I use it as a verb, democrating on social media versus in person, you would think that the vitriol would have gone up, and it just, I don't, and maybe you guys keep it for me, but I really do think that it's minimized, which is how we grow the party. And then last thing I want to mention, and I think that Deborah Card mentioned it, I am the, it's a debit card, I meant Deborah Carr. I am the chair of the Midwest region of the Association of State Democratic Committees. Big long word that means I am the chair of the Midwest region state chairs. Now, that's not bragging. I'm telling you that to say that I have a network of state chairs from all over the nation and Dems abroad that I can ask ideas from. I can ask help from. I can, I don't have to create the wheel every time. I can pick up the phone and call Jane Klebb in Nebraska and say, have you guys seen this? I can pick up the phone and call Tyree Irvin from Mississippi and say, here's a thing that we're thinking about doing. What do you think? And so I think that our party grows also by incorporating ideas from other people who are doing it well. We do not have to figure it out all by ourselves. Now, we'll put a little Oklahoma spin on it, but we do not have to figure it out all by ourselves. And so I ran for chair, as if I have time, of Midwest chairs, but only for that opportunity, so that I could be plugged into them in a meaningful way, so that I can network with them and get their ideas and incorporate them in Oklahoma. Because some of them, Tina Podolowski in Washington County, she worked a plan. They were a crazy red state, and they're blue. And she's willing to share with me her plan for that. You know, of course, there's Georgia, who I talked to. And so there's all these ways that we can improve our party. And I now have this network of folks that I can call and I can incorporate. And a couple of them have said, if you need me to post-pandemic, I will come and help you. I will come and help you, or you can come to my state and see how we do it. And so that's what I think I bring to bear. And I think our state needs a little continuity. And if you don't mind, Rebecca, I'll take questions.
Sure. Yeah. If anyone has any questions for you.
Well, you know, Alicia, I agree with that so much, as far as, because as you were talking about the networking and the information that you are privy to, I'm just hoping that, you know, that we will have the benefit of that going forward. And I was thinking, you know, it would be nice if you would just be the Democratic chair for the next 20 years and we'll just keep this thing rolling, you know, because I mean, I was really encouraged the last election cycle that we had so many candidates that stepped forward and did the hard work, like Emily and others, that, you know, we didn't have that many Republican races that were, you know, that went unchallenged. And I think that's so important to, you know, even if we don't win, to give people hope, you know, that at least we have a choice. And I would really like to see us beef up our candidate recruiting and support, you know, because it's like each one of those candidates were out there on their own. And I mean, we supported them at the county level, and I'm sure at the state level as best that we could. But I think that in that area, we could be more organized and offer, you know, better fundraising opportunities, and just mentoring, you know, from people that had run previous campaigns and that sort of thing. So that's one of the areas that I would like to see really worked on, is our candidate recruitment and support.
Well, I'm glad that you mentioned this. I want to say one more thing. So Eric Proctor, who is a former state rep, has agreed to run for vice chair. And Nana Denkwa is running for secretary. I mentioned them and I picked them for a couple of reasons. Not because I hang out with them, not because I have coffee with them. I picked them for what they bring to the table. Eric Proctor has been working with me for the last 90 days as we've been doing candidate recruitment for 2022. We have a spreadsheet that we both work, and you know, he's doing his Zooms, I'm doing my Zooms. We are actively recruiting for 2022. And I picked Eric because he's run for state office. He knows what it takes. He held state office. He beat a Republican, and I know this because he was my rep. He beat a Republican to take over that seat, kept the seat until he turned out. He has connections all over the state, and he's generally well liked. That's why I picked Eric. I picked Nana because I think one of the things that we need to do with regards to recruiting is we need to recruit to state and municipal offices municipal and school board offices. We need to recruit for those. And we also need to recruit from them. So like the next time we're looking for someone to run in Bartlesville, we have 2 candidates sitting right here on this screen. So I picked Nana because he just ran for city council in Oklahoma City. And he, like Eric, was an under-supported candidate from the state. The state did not do anything to help Eric. I can say that unabashedly and apologetically, but it is the truth, right? And I see the gap, and the way to overcome the gap is to have somebody who experienced it say, this is what we could use, and then work really hard to do that. And that's why I picked Nana, because he ran for city council. He did not get help from the state, and he has a list of things that he'd like to see the state do. And having him right there in leadership, identifying those things and helping set those things up, I think is how we help build a support system for municipal offices.
I think that's great, because we worked really hard in Washington County for our candidates. We really did. And I think we did a good job, but I think that it could have been better. And I think that probably was not unique to our county. And so if we had that support and that networking and that closeness all across the state where we could rely on one another, if you have a question, if you have a problem, to be able to talk to the other counties and at the state level to really flesh that out. So
Absolutely.
I don't pretend to know what's needed, but I know that you do, and that there are others that do. So I'm glad to see you working on that.
Right, and I don't know everything, which is why I'm picking guys to complement, what we're trying to do, so that we can.
Right.
Karen, you had a question?
Well, I just wanted to say, I think that, for Washington County especially, and I'm sure with other counties, there's more to Washington County than just Bartlesville. And we're missing out on a great many people. Yes, we have, there aren't that many out there, but there are Democrats out there, and there are even Republicans now that are looking for a home. And that's something that really has to be, you have to grab the opportunity, and this is the time. For the young Democrats, yes, there's Bartlesville High School, but there's also Copan, there's also Dewey, there's also Skiatook, there's also Collinsville, there's also, there's so many other places, not just Bartlesville. And there are so many other people to get volunteers. If you don't have them in Washington, in Bartlesville, join forces with others and bring them in, even if they're independents or Republicans. It's knocking on doors and knocking on all doors. This is the time to bring them over. And, talking to people, and especially with volunteers, they think it sounds overwhelming to them, and they don't know what to do or how to do it. And, to train a volunteer or to ask ask somebody for help, if you can just explain and give me 15 minutes a month, that's all I'm asking. You give, into small pieces, and you can get more people to do that. Well, what can I do for 15 minutes? You have a neighbor, talk to your neighbor. You have kids in school, talk to their teacher, talk to other kids' parents that if you're older, talk to people that you work with. 15 minutes a month. But being in Washington County, there are so many other towns that you can go to. And if we don't have the people here, we need to join forces even with other organizations. Even organizations that are in Tulsa, if, they can help us for 1 hour a month, or we can help them for 1 hour a month. And it's all intertwining. We all have the same goal. We all want the same outcome. But it's just talking to everybody, not just the people here in Bartlesville. And I think we're missing out on a lot of other people.
I think that's a very good.
Like you said, you had a mailing that went out. I haven't seen anything.
You didn't get a mailing for absentee ballot?
No.
Did you sign up for absentee ballot?
The last time, yes.
Okay, that's good to know.
And I haven't seen anything. I haven't seen even anything on anything that's upcoming for the convention, or you know, or anything. So, you know, there's a lot of missed opportunities.
Alicia, I'd like to ask, now that we have discharged our debt, and congratulations and thank you for doing that. Now that that's done, how do you envision using the funds that we've been servicing our debt with? Like, how do you envision using that going forward?
Thank you. I didn't know how I was going to work that in. So my three things, right? Voter expansion, delivering a message, and candidate recruitment. So I have also talked with a lady who used to be the chair of the Wisconsin County Dems. She was the chair of Wisconsin County Dems in a time when they were like we are. And one of the things that she was very frustrated with as a state chair was tools. You know, what kinds of tools does the party offer candidates to help candidates? So she went off and started a company that provides these tools. And so I've talked to her, and I've just gotten the okay from the executive committee, which is all the DNC members in the state, plus the secretary and the treasurer. We're going to buy into this program that has a price tag of $30,000, but she's going to help us raise some of the money. But what it does in one place, it has a dashboard. Now, there are other things that it does for the party, but what's important is what it does for candidates. There's like one place, and the candidates will get this, where you can pull up a dashboard and it will instantly tell you how many doors you knocked, how many texts you've sent, and how many calls you've made, as long as you do them in conjunction with Van. Like you download your list from Van to do it, it will in one place put all of these numbers. And what it does for the party is I can go in and look and see how many doors did Emily knock and how many doors did Melissa Provenzano knock, right? So I can kind of do a comparison. If we have a candidate who's kind of slacking, I could, make that phone call and say, hey, I really want you to win, but it doesn't look like you're knocking doors. You need some volunteers, you need some help, you need a pep talk, So that's one of the things with candidate recruitment, because one of the things is, our numbers suck right now, right? And if I'm recruiting candidates, and I am, they're saying, what does the party have to offer? Are you going to give me money? Well, we don't have money. We're not going to give you money, right? But what we will do is we will give you these tools, because you guys both know, because you ran, that you have a spreadsheet that shows how many calls you made. You have another spreadsheet over here that shows how many mailers you sent, and another spreadsheet about how many doors you've knocked, right? And to have all that in one place, think about the time.
Yes.
It buys you back as a candidate. Even if you weren't doing it, then your professional can be working on something else that helps you. So that's one of the things that we're doing with candidate recruitment. Voters registration. We've partnered with an agency who has names and addresses of likely Democrats, right? And so we could buy the list from them, buy a list from Target Smart that says, give us good phone numbers. And then we can, instead of tabling, in addition to tabling for voters registration, we can also aggressively go after folks, right? I can send you a letter and say, hey, Eric, according to my records, it looks like your voters registration isn't up to date. Is that accurate? And get you to re-register. And they target likely Democrats based on purchasing decisions and social media jazz. And so we've partnered with them, and we're running a test in our special election district, Senate District 22. We're testing how this works there so that we can spread that out all over the state. So that's voter expansion.
Is it the program that has the little colored dots? Yeah, I loved that. I went to a presentation for that, and that looks excellent. Thank you for buying that.
Can I hop in with another question? Just a technical aspect. Is that going to cost candidates anything? Because between NGP and Van, just the monthly, that
the toolbox, the dashboard.
Yes.
So what our plan is to figure out how to do this so that we're not in candidates' pockets as much. Because here's the thing, I want every candidate to be part of the coordinated campaign, but I don't want it to be so cost prohibitive that we're leaving so many candidates out that we're not helping. And so that's another, we're looking at fundraising sources for that. One of the things we tried in this cycle is if for a state house rep, it was $2,000 to buy into the coordinated campaign. And for some candidates, $2,000 seems like the end of the world. But if a candidate said, I got 1,000 and that's all I can do, we went out and tried to find the other 1,000 from other fundraising sources. And since we tried that and we got a taste of it, it's a thing that we'd like to continue, because candidates need as much of their money to go towards their flyers and their staff as we can possibly make happen. So we're working on that. We're not going to say that it's going to be completely free, because when I talk about it to other states, in Michigan, a state house candidate pays $10,000 buy-in. Exactly. So what did I talk about? I talked about candidate recruitment. I talked about voter expansion, and then messaging. That organization that I met with, it's $30,000. But messaging is what kills us as a state. And it's important enough that I am in the process of trying to figure out ways to pay for that, because I think it's that important. So when you ask me, what am I spending money on? We have paid for yesterday. I want to spend some money on tomorrow's promise.
Thank you very much.
And
Thank you.
Angela has a hand raised. Angela, did you want to say something?
Yes, I had two questions for State Chair Andrews. I've noticed we've had a lot of what's the word? Oh my goodness, I can't believe I can't think of the word. Press, that we've had a lot of press. Has that brought money into our coffers? And then my last one that I wanted to talk about is maybe pushing the renewing of monthly donations, because I know that's fallen off. I don't know if that's a problem in the Washington County area. It might be, but what are good ways of getting people to re-up their reoccurring donations, monthly donations? Concluded.
Thank you, Angela. So the first thing, I'm talking you guys' heads off right now, but I'm good this way. But I am an insane introvert. And so one of the things that running for and winning state chair the first time that I had to overcome is being in front of a camera. It's not my favorite thing. It's not, if I could do what I do without being in front of the camera, that's what I do. However, our party needed someone in the news saying Democrat, Democrat, Democrat as much as I could, and making other people say Democrat. And so I am proud of the fact that at least 3 times a week, I am in the press, either on TV, in the news, or on the radio. Because when they introduce me, they have to say the Oklahoma Democratic Party. When they print it, they have to say the Oklahoma Democratic Party. And the more times that Democrats see the Oklahoma Democratic Party or hear it, they believe that we're here. And yes, it's so funny, when I first started going on the news or being said or being print, literally people would write a check. I'd get a $100 check mailed to the office. I get a $250 that said, thank you for speaking out. Because people were they hadn't heard Oklahoma Democratic Party enough. And so now if I'm not in the news, on the radio, or, in a paper at least 3 times a week, I'm a little stark raving mad, because I'm thinking not enough people are saying Oklahoma Democratic Party. So thank you, Angela. It has been a deliberate, concentrated effort, and me getting over myself to get in the press. And then secondly, recurring donations were a challenge for us, and it was because people didn't want to pay for yesterday's problems. We are working diligently on upping our recurring donors. So anybody here who wants to donate, it's okdemocrats.org/donate. But one of the things that we're working on and we're rolling out within the next 30 days is our Champions Club. And the Champions Club is for certain amounts, and it goes up. Everybody's heard of a Sustainer Club, but for certain amounts, you get a t-shirt and you get to come to a monthly meeting with me, and you get a special newsletter that talks about, special things. We are working on things to provide value, in addition to knowing that you're helping for the Democratic cause, but that you're also part of the decision-making. the quarterly meetings that are just for the donors. And, and there are other benefits, like, at a certain amount, you get into so many, because one day we're going to be out of our houses, but you get into so many of our actual events. And we're designing a t-shirt and lapel pins, and we're working on that. And literally on my printer right now is the final draft. So within the next 30 days, we'll be rolling out our sustainer program. Thanks for that question, Angela. Karen?
Alicia, let me ask you, because I've been asked this a couple of times, and people want to know which is more beneficial to support the Oklahoma Democrats, as if they donate to the state party or donate to their county party.
So here's what my answer to that is. If you have $10 to donate $5 to the county party and donate $5 to the state party. The county party, it's just like when I tell people that you vote your ballot from the bottom up. You need to be very concerned about the party that's closest to you, that you have the most interaction with. And so absolutely, you need to donate to your county party, because your county party is going to be called on in the next cycle, should I get elected again, on here's a postcard program that I need you guys to run out of your county party, and they're going to need money for that. But also on some of the state things, helping candidates with figuring out ways to pay for these tools where we don't have to charge candidates. That's a state level thing. And so it's both are important, but I'm never going to take money out of the county party structure, because that's closest to people's house. Did that answer your question?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I want to be honest. The state party, we pay for a van, and then we, sell out little pieces of it, but we got to pay for it. There are things that the state party has to pay for that benefits counties and candidates, but your county party is the thing that's closest to you. So please support your county parties.
I have another question, if that's okay.
I'm going to go to Stacia first, and I'll come back to you.
Sorry,
Okay?
apologize.
That's okay. Stacia?
Hey, good evening, everyone. Sorry, I had hopped off because I had another call, but I'm back and here for the duration of the meeting. I just wanted to introduce myself. I am the president of the Young Democrats of Oklahoma, and I'm really happy that you all are having this space for us to meet. I've only been to Bartlesville once in my life, and that one time was with 802, and I met up with Emily, and that was like the only time I'd ever been up to that part of the state. But I was very delighted with the positive energy that we encountered there, and I'm really happy that you guys have a chapter, and that you're having these meetings. I just wanted to, like I said, I just wanted to introduce myself and express my support for our wonderful chairwoman of the party, Alicia. She's always been supportive of young people being involved in the process. And like every time she speaks, I'm like, I need to like do things differently if I want to be Alicia when I grow up. So, I'm very happy to be here, and I just wanted to let you guys know that we are planning out our YDO convention. It's going to be in April, more than likely the third week of April, and we'll be having more information out about that. And yeah, that's really all I wanted to say, in that we're working hard to charter chapters during this pandemic. I never thought I'd be a pandemic president. Like, Alicia's a pandemic chair and Josh is a pandemic YDA president. I never thought that would happen, but I mean, here we are. So, I'm just happy to be here, and I just wanted to say a few words before I had to hop off. I'm not hopping off yet, but I'm planning to be here for the rest of the meeting, but I just wanted to make my presence known. And yeah, thank you for the good work, and I plan to be on more calls. Thank you.
Hey, thank you, Seisha. I really thought that you were coming. I appreciate the kind words, but I really thought you were coming on to cheer on Emily, because I haven't gotten a chance to say that I wholeheartely support Emily for YDO as well. So I wanted to say that.
Emily is amazing. See, listen, I was trying to be,
I
like
appreciate it.
not. I was trying not to be like, oh, anybody interested want to pick Emily, but Emily is dope, and like I fully support her and her slate. I'm just, oh shoot, I guess it's the Washington County meeting that I'm like acknowledging that at. But like, I mean, she's very capable, and I know that YDO would be in good hands with the new slate. I'm just, I just didn't want to like be like, ooh, Emily Charles.
Somebody's house to not say something nice about them. Come on now.
I didn't want to be in that, like, you remember back in the day. I say back in the day, like it wasn't like 5 years ago, like the pro Hillary camp, like, oh, you just want to support Hillary Clinton, like I didn't want to be one of those people. Like,
all right, so I'm gonna get to Angela's question because
Yeah.
I don't know what time they end. Angela?
Thank you. My question was, you talked about a website to find voters at a different Zoom meeting that I heard you speak at. What was the name of that website, or do you remember what I'm talking about? Conclude.
I do because I'm in love with it. It is mapthevote.com. Okay. I need to improve my diction. It's mapthevote.com. And you all can go out there. It comes with a little app. It is wonderful. It is the little dots that Eric referenced. You can actually put in your address and it will show you all of the unregistered voters that are around you. Now, the difference between that and what we're trying to do at the state is to be a little bit more focused, because just because someone lives across the street from you and you're unregistered, they may be a Republican. And when you're tabling, you register everybody else. But I think when we go out aggressive, we should be aggressively trying to register Democrats and Independents. That's just, I'm the partisan girl here. So that's where I am with that. Thanks for that reminder. Rebecca, I'm not trying to take your meeting, so.
Oh, no, thank you, Alicia. We've appreciated your work as chair. I think that you've done a great job.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Does anybody else have any questions for Alicia or any other questions for me? Okay.
I do. On for our next meeting, I had attended another Zoom meeting of a different county, and they had an article that everyone read. It was about Stacey Abrams, and there was a lot of discussion that I thought was healthy. So maybe that might be a possibility for your next Zoom meeting for the county. It was just a suggestion that I thought was good, and I've enjoyed this Zoom meeting.
Good.
Concluded.
Thank you. I want to let you guys know, just in case you're curious, I am not running for Washington County Chair again. I do plan on running for secretary and hope to continue to serve you in that way. So if nobody else has any questions, I think we'll wrap it up. It's 8 o'clock, so we should probably respect everyone's time and get out of here and hope to see you all next month.
Thank you, Rebecca.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.